opposed to the hero. And I mean, wolves are 200 HP, 0 armor, so they go down pretty quick. I mean, they are a good source of damage output, so if you don't take them out ASAP, they're gonna be kind of hectic towards you. But yeah, I believe the orc player has lost a total of 2 grunts, which sucks. Let's see, yeah, 1, 2. He lost 1 to a quill beast in the back of his base. But what he will be replacing them with is kodo beasts. Now, the strategy that he goes is actually kind of a kodo beast raider strategy. I mean, he does get spirit walkers, but he doesn't get as many as you'd expect. Yeah, and basically the one downside to this whole kodo beast thing is that once you start losing kodo beasts, it's kind of a downhill slope from there. And that once you lose one, it's going to be easier to lose the second and the third and the fourth. And the one thing that you want the Spirit Walkers around for is because, you know, you have Spirit Link, which is great. Oh, it looks like the Torn Chieftain's allergic to Tomes of Intelligence. It's okay, it's only 15 mana, so it's not that big of a deal. But, what was I saying? Right, with the Kodo Beasts, he hasn't really gotten his first one yet. He's just focusing on the Raiders, just because you won't be facing a bunch of breakers yet. Generally, they will mass up on a couple sorcerers and priests just for the dispel before you will encounter breakers, which is when you'll need the Kodo Beasts. Well, you won't need them if you want to sort of imitate the strategy. Then yes, he is going to hit level 3 on his Torn Chieftain. Level 3 on the Farseer is pretty important though, just because you get the extra wolves. It takes 1 more dispel to take them out, I believe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does. Whatever. I'm probably wrong. No, wait, no, I'm not wrong. I'm never wrong. JK, I don't have that much of an ego. I'm not freak. Burn. Anyways, Tome of XP, that's always good, especially on the Torn Chieftain, just because it'll get you level 4 a little faster, which is a good counter to slow. And plus, it is it's closer to level 5 for him too. But one mistake that I think the human player made this game is you may or may not have noticed he has stopped summoning water elementals. The reason that is because he's actually picked up a retrain tome. That's hard to say. Anywho, he picked up one of those to get Blizzard, which I thought was a mistake because against Kodo Beasts, it's a lot more important to be using the water elementals and stuff, as opposed to not. So, I mean, I'm not sure if Minimum picked up on the fact that he actually used a retrain tome, but if he did, that's probably why he's using a lot more Kodo Beasts. Either way, if they do retrain to Blizzard, you're better off going with Kodo Beasts as opposed to Grunts, just because, you know, the Kodo Beasts, sure, they aren't that mobile, but they're not going to be taking as much damage from breakers, and you're not really going to be keeping them in front, so they're not going to be tanking necessarily, and the only damage you're going to be taking from them is mostly from Spirit Link. So that was an awful Blizzard. That was just bad. Smart TP, the peasants kind of arrived, and you have 2 breakers devoured. Sure, he lost a raider, but, you know, 2 breakers for a raider, that's pretty good. Especially because he can replenish up on a little bit of mana, and his Torn Chieftain will be in a little less trouble. Gives you a little more time. But this battle is pretty important just because they're both in low upkeep. The human player sort of has the advantage just because he's actually got the peasants with him. But Chainwave is pretty sweet, so it takes those out pretty quickly. The one thing that you want to do is you want to be careful of your positioning. You want to keep your grunts in front of the breakers, and you want to keep your raiders near the casters. You want to keep your Kodo Beasts and your Spirit Walkers as far back as possible. So that's basically like the ideal positioning, but it's not always going to happen. So the Orc player basically won that battle just because the human player was short on 2 breakers, so he doesn't really have much in terms of meat shield behind besides his Beastmaster. So yeah, that's pretty important. You don't want to be tanking up on your Beastmaster, because once he goes down, you're just leveling up the Orc heroes a lot more, and then it's a downhill slope. It's all downhill from there. just like skiing. I miss skiing. Anyways, yes, this is similar to a strategy that I used to use, which was I used to mask kodo beasts and bring in a zeppelin. I actually thought it would be cool to include a zeppelin in, minimum strategy, just because you can devour something, and since kodo beasts have really crappy movement speed, you could just devour, suck it into a zeppelin and run it away so that you don't lose it, which would be pretty cool. But yeah, I used to use a strategy I like to call Hungry Hungry Hippos, or Kodos, my bad. Hungry Hungry Kodos, not the children's game, which gets pretty intense. But yeah, you don't want to be fighting battles too far away from your base, just because you want to be able to run your kodo beasts back there and hide them behind the burrows, which is pretty smart because, Minimum's picking his battles very smartly. He isn't picking battles where he's too far away from his base. He's picking battles where not only does he have decent positioning and he has an ability to chain wave the casters, but he also has the ability to save his kodo beasts, which is smart. One thing you want to do as a human player is try and keep your casters away from the Tauren Chieftains as much as possible, and try and devour dodge. But yeah, I used to use, anyways, as I was saying, Bat Rider for the sort kill. That was pretty sweet. As I was saying, for the second time, I used to use a strategy I called Hungry Hungry Kodos, which is I'd just get a couple towers and then I'd get a bunch of zeppelins, dual beast chariot up, and run in, eat all his workers, and then run out, or zeppelin out and stuff. And people would either get pissed or destroy me, so it's pretty funny. One thing that you do gain with Blizzard, or by going Blizzard, is you basically have unlimited mana and you don't actually have to wait on mana regenning until you hit level 5. Of course, because then it's just unlimited. Water elementals, you don't really have to worry about that. The one thing that you will have a problem with is against players with low ping, which is they'll just be waiting for you to basically use Blizzard before they ensnare, so that your cooldown goes down. So they'll basically just wait for you to cast it have the one wave go down, and then they'll ensnare it, and then it'll be over. It works fine in the ladder. I guess against lower leveled opponents it's going to do a lot better, just because you can get a few more waves off, and their repositioning is going to cause a little bit more of a problem for themselves than for you. So that's one thing to keep in mind, is that if you're using this strategy at a higher level of play, you're probably not going to pull it off as easily with the Blizzard. So you'll want to go with the water elementals, especially against the kodo beasts. Yeah, that's my spiel on that. Bat Rider is owning it up. That had to have been a misclick. I'm surprised he didn't actually kill it off. Just so that he can actually get he could get another Spirit Walker or Raider without going into low upkeep, which is what I would have done, but whatever. I'm a little more reckless with my units. He's just using it to scout, though, which is a decent tool. Speed Scroll. Always keep a Speed Scroll on you against human, especially when you're using kodo beasts. Interesting Dispel. This was kind of risky on the Tauren Chieftain's part. Wants to pick up a healing scroll. Almost gets surrounded too. Almost. That would have sucked. Yeah, so right now he has, he's working on his 4th kodo beast. And you'll notice the human player only has 5 breakers. So, of course he only has 1 Spirit Walker, which kind of sucks. But you'll notice he doesn't have any grunts, and the reason that is because you're not going to be doing damage against breakers anyways, because you're going to be eating them all. So why not just focus on countering the casters? And kodos do pretty decent damage against casters too. He just used 2 ensnares on the Archmage, which I thought was pretty stupid, plus kind of a bad scroll of protection. Basically, the human player doesn't really have fantastic